The fantasy regular season is over, everybody. Bring on the playoffs. Ding here. We're going to get you ready for the first waiver week of the fantasy playoffs. There's not much out there, but there's some decent situational starts we'll highlight for week 15 and 16. Hopefully get you ready for the Super Bowl. Hope you make it, obviously. This is the 60th episode of EDFF Crows Rule. I hope you've enjoyed these episodes. I hope you're in the playoffs, and I hope in a small way that I've been able to help you. With that, let's check in on the injuries. Guerrero, he's got a foot sprain. He's still unknown, but the number one pickup of the week is Patrick Taylor. It's a short week for the Niners, so they play on Thursday. Taylor's a huge target. You need to go get him. Derek Carr, he's got a broken hand. It's his non-throwing hand, but he's out for the rest of the season. That downgrades everybody on the Saints. Irving, he re-injured his back. They'll be monitoring it. The way that White played, though, I think it's safe to assume that Irving is going to sit another week. Walker, he needs more testing on his calf. If I'm reading the tea leaves here, I'm guessing another week of Charbonnet, which is huge for anybody who got him. Disley, looks like he's going to be out a couple of weeks. Smart is the pickup here, but don't expect more than 4 to 6 targets at best. Dobbs and Tillman, they're still in the concussion protocol, probably looking to sit another week. Okay, let's take a quick look at Monday Night Football. Cincy, going into the playoffs for the fantasy season, you're going to start Burrow, Brown, and Chase. They're auto starts, obviously. Higgins and Gesicki, those are touchdown-dependent plays. On Dallas, Dottle and Lamb, they're good starts. They look strong tonight, obviously. Ferguson, he's touchdown-dependent kind of guy. Rush, it's all about the matchup. I mean, if you're looking at starting Rush, you must be in some serious trouble or your starter's been hurt because you can't make it in the playoffs with Rush. Even tonight against a really weak team on defense, Cincinnati, he barely mustered 183 and 2 touchdowns. So he's not something you want to roster moving forward. The biggest takeaway is the fact that any player up against the Bengals is a premium start in the playoffs. Here are the Bengals' next 3 weeks. Week 15, they're up against Tennessee. So Pollard and Ridley, they should have huge weeks. Maybe Akine gets back to his touchdown ways. Heck, even Levis might be a spot start here. Week 16, it's Cleveland. Oh yeah, here's the Winston start you want every part of. Judy is going to be huge in this game. If Tillman comes back, he should have a nice game. This could also be Chubb's chance for another touchdown. He did get one in the first game, but that game had Watson at the helm. This one, Winston, way better quarterback. Week 17, since he faces Denver. So that's Super Bowl week. So if you got Bo Nix as your backup, man, he might be primed for 4 touchdowns here. Sutton should be a monster. So if you're wondering if you start Sutton over someone else, man, that's the start in the Super Bowl if you get there. All right, time to get onto the waiver options. There's no more buys. There's no more excuses. It's elimination time. We got to be right on this one. So keep in mind what we're looking at are spot starts, potential injury backups here. Let's get into it. For quarterbacks, number 1 is Winston. He's 32% owned. It's a stash play because this week he's up against Kansas City, but next week it's Cincinnati. We already covered that. The second quarterback is Levis. He's 20% owned. I can't believe I'm actually saying that you should go out and get him. But let's say you had Carr or maybe Lawrence and you've taken some bad injuries and there's no one left. He has a cake matchup this week against Cincinnati. I mean, heck, if you had to play in the rest of the playoffs, week 16 is Indy, week 17 is Jacksonville. So if his shoulder is getting better by game day, man, he might be able to give you 20, 25 points in a pinch. A running back, obviously, it's Taylor. We already talked about that. The number 2 guy out there, McLaughlin, 12% owned. He had a huge Monday Night Football. He's coming off the bye. He's feeling fresh. I think he's going to be the RB1 moving forward. I don't know. Obviously, Estime, he's really the third running back. It's really a question of whether Javonte Williams is going to be the number 2 running back or the number 1. I say take a risk on McLaughlin. I'm not sure you want to start him this week. If you have someone who gives you 15 to 20 touches guaranteed, that's actually the better play. But if you're looking for somebody to take over, he's playing week 15 at Indy, and they are weak against the run. This sets up well for him. The last running back is McCormick. He's 15% owned. It's a tough matchup at Atlanta, and it depends on Madison and White coming back. Either one of those guys comes back, and McCormick goes back to a timeshare. But he's getting 15 touches right now. You have to check his practice status moving forward to see if he's going to be the number 1 running back. At wide receiver, there's not a whole lot out there. I don't want you to chase McMillan or Patrick. They had extreme outlier weeks with the double touchdowns. They normally don't see more than 4 targets. Everyone on the waiver wire is touchdown dependent at this point. Go with your gut. If you really have to stream one of these guys, take Patrick because week 15 coming up, the Lions host the Bills. It's going to be a shootout. He might get another touchdown. At tight end, I would have told you Juwan Johnson, but Carr's gone. He's not playable anymore. You could grab Smart, which is Disley's replacement we talked about, or even Meyer. Since they're doubling Bowers on Las Vegas, he seems to be getting extra targets. Again, it's thin, so these are really desperation plays. All right, let's move on to defenses. The number one defense out there, Washington, is 24% owned. They're going up against the Saints, and the Saints don't have a quarterback, so they should feast on this. This is a definite outstanding streaming play for this week. Second defense out there, the Jets. Now, they haven't been playing good defense. They're 44% owned, but they face Jacksonville week 15. This is a prime matchup for them. Looking ahead to week 16 in defenses, the premium defense to stream on the waiver wire right now is Atlanta. They face the Giants. So even though Atlanta's playing kind of terrible ball right now, it is the Giants. I think they could have some success there. That's the playoff waiver wire look. If you're stacked and you have bench space, grab an extra defense, extra kicker, quarterback, get yourself ready for the playoffs. Maybe that backup running back like Ray Davis, he might still be out there just in case something happens to Cook. Good luck on the road to the Super Bowl, everybody. Now, before we sign off, I want to give a shout out to our men and women in uniform who protect the freedoms we hold dear. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us on X, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you can stay up to date on our latest content. And until then, remember, established dominance isn't just a catchphrase, it's a commitment. Are you ready?